Blog Talk Radio.
Warning, the following program may include profane language, controversial viewpoints, and perspectives on the true nature of reality so far removed from the status quo, they'll make your head spin like a top. Young children, corporate executives, and religious fundamentalists should turn away now.
Good evening, Earthlings and visitors. Welcome to Extraordinary Year, the online show that puts everyday people with questions about 2012 on the road to understanding. I'm Tim Bravo, and I'm grateful you're joining us tonight. 232 days until December 21st, 2012. With me tonight are Canada and Steiny. What's up, guys?
Oh, what up?
And I understand that we have another individual joining us tonight on the line, Ali, who is buddies with those guys. What's up, Ali?
What's up, Tim?
So we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on. Remember, if you like the show, hop over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/extraordinaryyear. Like us there, too. In fact, you might head over there right now while you're listening because we've got links posted for all the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. So last week, guys, I spent the episode bitching about nothing happening and generally just being a big sourpuss. You'll remember. Mostly, I think I was reflecting the mood of a lot of people who were frustrated with the lack of progress toward a world that works for everyone, especially after years of lead up to the big one, 2012. You know, here we are, and what's going on? So, I was a little down in the mouth, but for tonight, we're going to turn it around. We're going to call this episode Occupy Hope, in honor of yesterday's May Day rallies of the Occupy movement across the globe. Is this the American spring we've been waiting for? We'll discuss. Also, there are other signs of hope to talk about, evidence there really is a group of good guys who are working at a high level behind the scenes to bring down the people purposely running this planet into the ground. We've got some wisdom from Lisa Harrison about what we can expect from this month of May and how we can work together to make it happen. World Liberation Day has been declared for May 5. You can learn how to join in. Just listen. The plight of Rupert Murdoch and his global media empire looks more dire by the day. Does it spell the eventual demise of Fox News, though? One can only hope. Sheldon Nidle released a timeline for how the rest of this year should go. We're going to take a look at that. Anonymous poked their head out to sling a challenge toward NASA to come clean concerning extraterrestrials and UFOs. We'll look at the specifics of what they want from NASA. David Wilcock has announced even more liens against central banks. This time, it's global. It's, it could be pretty big. A YouTuber I've recently begun paying attention to is warning us for a major quake starting this weekend. His research is pretty specific and makes a lot of sense, and we'll take a little bit of a look. And, of course, the latest resignation numbers and UFO sightings and the video of the week. So, as you can see, gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about this week. I'm going to try and cram it all into an hour. As always, we invite you, the listener, to call us with your questions and comments live at the number you'll find at the top of the episode page. It's 858-956-2147. And remember, you can also post questions and talk amongst yourselves in our chat room on the episode page. Before we really get underway, I want to announce upcoming guests. Next week, Joseph Mara, M.D., He's a physician who gave up Western medicine, closed his practice in Pennsylvania, and moved to the southwest of the United States to take up work in holistic healing and educating the public about spirituality. May 16th, we'll sit down with Michael J. Murphy, director of the chemtrail documentary, What in the World Are They Spraying? And we're going to talk with him about his upcoming sequel, which is called Why in the World Are They Spraying? And we'll talk about why chemtrails continue to be used across this planet. But for tonight, Occupy Hope. Yesterday was May Day, and the double meaning of that term, May Day, as in a distress call, wasn't lost on the Occupy movement. Rallies sprung up across our country in pretty much every major city and then some. There were 125 in the United States yesterday in total, including all the big ones, New York, L.A., Chicago, Detroit, Miami, San Francisco. But it's also a global thing yesterday in Toronto, in London, in Greece, in Turkey, Russia, Spain, and even Cuba, which is interesting. So did you guys occupy yesterday? Anybody out there listening have any thoughts or comments? Went and did any Occupy stuff yesterday? Give us a call, 858-956-2147. And, I've gone out to stuff with Occupy Wichita. I try to engage any chance I get. And they do some very good, peaceful, nonviolent, good message type stuff. So I have no problem going out there and joining them and bringing a sign and lending my voice to the movement. Have any of you guys ever done any sort of demonstrating?
I don't know. I haven't really done any of the demonstrating. I haven't gone out there to all the, either or. If you have these demonstrations on either side of the political spectrum nowadays about, you have your Tea Partiers, and then you have your Occupy, movement. But I don't know. Any way you slice it, I don't want to take sides here. Does that make sense? I don't want to sit here and say, one person's right or one person's wrong, because a lot of these protests, they have legitimate concerns either side.
Well, but I think there can be a mistake made in looking at the Occupy movement and saying it's the other side. And it's not the other side. Yeah, there's the Tea Party movement and there's the Occupy movement, but they're actually not all that different. They're not. It's not one side and another. That's the way it's being couched, and that's the way that people are just listening to mainstream media and looking at it, because that's how they're being told to look at it. But if you actually look at the Occupy movement and what it is that they want, what they're founded on, there's a million ideas that come out of it, and there are a million different people. Trust me, I've been there. Not everybody agrees, but there are things that everybody does agree on, and it's not stuff that's progressive or conservative. It's stuff that's right for the human race. And this is, to me, it's our one big chance to actually unify around the stuff that matters to everyone and, make a change, force a change.
Yeah, you have these two sides. You have your, quote, progressives and your, quote, conservatives, your Democrats, your Republicans, and whatever the case may be. But what's the common, what are the common denominator that they're arguing against? And I think it's fear. It's just both messages, they're this big fucking fear-based just message that, you got to pay attention to all this media and shit that has been proven to just feed you propaganda bullshit all fucking day, It's these media fucking empires that just inject fear into your veins every fucking day by way of media, social media, whatever the case may be. I think that's the common denominator in all these groups, protesting, is just that there's just bullshit that you can't be sure of, and it's creating fear and unrest and everything.
I would say that the social media is more of a reflection of what people are what's actually sinking in to people.
Yeah,
because it's what they're putting out. It's what they're regurgitating. So it's kind of a good way to gauge what the real effect of the propaganda media is. I'll give you that. But I still think that there's a misunderstanding about the Occupy movement in your comments, because I don't see the Occupy movement as being a product of fear. Rather, I see it as being a product of empowerment and hope. Empowerment, where people are actually coming together, saying they're taking it back. They're saying, no, you are not going to do this to us anymore. We are standing up. We are not going to just take this lying down anymore. We are going to get up and do something together. And they're empowered, and they're bold, and there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of peace in pushing for the end of environmental destruction. I mean, it's all stuff that benefits everyone. It's peace, love, hope. It's just fucking hippiedom, dude. And I love it.
Well, I agree, and I think my comments came out a little wrong, actually. The Occupy movement, I don't want to again, I don't want to take sides here, but I do think you're right, and I think that Occupy movement has the more legitimate argument here is that the fact that there is hope that we can take back this corrupt fucking system that we've all been thrown into. Forgive my French, but damn it.
Well, this is the place for that. You know what? People are frustrated, and it's just language. So this is going to be a show where you can say whatever you want to say, however it feels best to you. And we're going to just try to everybody agree that it's just freaking language. And
Good, because that's another one of these concerns I've had is the fucking censorship that goes on every day.
You can't do that. You can't say that. You can't beat that.
Like, these are fucking words. They're just words. If you can get offended by words, then what else?
You choose to be offended. That's the whole thing. You choose to be offended.
Right? Like, if you're constantly told that this is wrong, that you're a fat fucking lazy slob. Well, I don't think that enters into it at all.
How dare you convince me to get angry about this?
Well, yeah, I mean,
what they're saying.
How can you tell me that something I say is wrong when, honestly, if there is something out there that's being stifled and being censored, that you're not, and it parallels perfectly with words like fuck, shit. Like, George Carlin said 7 words you can't say on TV. Like, it's complete bullshit. Like, you can say they're just fucking words, but think about the things that are really censored every day.
Like this.
Real issues. Was that the off-topic sauce?
Yeah, that would be censoring you because you're talking about censorship. I'm trying to talk about Occupy, yo.
Oh, my bad.
So you just got
censored
for talking about censorship.
Oh, they're off-topic sauce. My bad.
No, that's cool. But I'm just going to bring it back here. The Occupy thing, dude, it's mostly peaceful. And the stuff yesterday was mostly peaceful. There were some numbskulls out there. And I think that there are people out there who are instigators who are brought in specifically for that purpose. They're trying to throw Occupy off its balance, off its feet. And if they can get people to be violent, or they can get people to think they're violent, then, if they don't have public will, they're just fucked. So,
right.
And they need to remember that. Everybody needs to remember that. If they're going to go out and demonstrate, they need to remain peaceful no matter what. No matter what. I mean, if they put a gun to your head and are going to shoot you, and, you're just submitting to their will, if they shoot you and somebody catches that on camera, you're going to be like that chick in Iran. Not that I'm saying that somebody's about to get shot by law enforcement. I don't think that's going to happen. But you know what I mean. If law enforcement is roughing you up, don't fight back. Be peaceful. Just remain peaceful. And the people of the world will join you. The people of the world will see this. The people of the world are waking up. The people of the world don't want this any more than you do. So if you're out there and you're actually demonstrating, you are representing the will of the world, and you have to remain peaceful. Period.
That's a good way to put it. Like, you were talking about free will, and if that's one thing I can stress to anybody out there listening is that you have free will. That's an unalienable right. As a human being,
literally unalienable, because they can't take it away. They cannot take it away.
Right.
They literally cannot take it away. It can only be given by you. You give up. That's why they call it giving up.
If you are met with opposition because of something you said or something that was purely free will, like that's the only way I can put it. That's an unalienable right. That's what this country was founded on, was these unalienable human rights. As anybody on this planet, not just this country, but anybody has these rights.
That's what the Occupy movement is about, taking it back.
Right.
It's about moving control of the planet away from the few, from the rich, from the corporations, and returning the planet to itself, to the planet as a whole. I encourage anyone out there listening, keep your ears and eyes open for opportunities to join, and get out there and be peaceful and put that energy into the collective energy at that location at that time. And you'll be glad you did. I promise. I've been there. I've done it. The feeling, even in a small group, the feeling of unity and being a part of something bigger, it's like pure joy, especially when everybody's intentions are in line. And there's nothing like it. It's like playing with a band. Matt, you and David, Jim, I know you've done band in school and stuff. Anybody who's a musician out there who's been in a group that is, decent will be able to tell you that there's something that happens when everybody's on beat, everybody's in the groove. It becomes not like 4 or 5 guys or a whole high school band or whatever. It's not individual players. It becomes a thing. Everybody feels what's going on, and you just know you're in sync because you're literally like connected in a greater whole than the sum of the parts. You can feel it. Anybody? That's why do you think people love to jam? That's how it all started.
That happens in sports all the time too. That happens in a lot of different ways.
That makes sense.
Work in a group. I mean, if you
you could see when you had it and when they didn't in the tournament, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you just create a thinking of so many people to do an ultimate goal. It could happen in multiple ways in life, but you guys are all in a band. When I heard that, I had to chime in and say that it happens in other things too.
Right.
I've never played in a band.
Right. It happens regardless of whether it's a band, like one band, one sound, right? Right. Or one team, one goal.
Right.
Or one humanity, one ultimate fucking realization of the universe. Regardless of what level you take that on.
You could say multiple cultures, one society.
Right. We here are our group. Hey, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. All of us right here talking on this radio show, we're all kind of working towards a goal of better understanding, better realization.
Well, this is awesome. You know what? I think since we've kind of broached this topic, I'm going to jump ahead on the rundown. I want to talk about World Liberation Day because what we're talking about pertains directly to what's coming up this weekend, May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. It's being declared World Liberation Day. And basically, there's a kind of a viral thing going around that's asking everybody to get together and visualize and meditate en masse around the globe as the full moon passes over. And, we're supposed to be, visualizing, manifesting our freedom, our liberation. That's why we're calling it Liberation Day. Visualize ecosystems being healed and all debts being canceled and central bankers getting arrested and all the free energies that have been suppressed being released and world peace, basically. And in Wichita, the time for that is going to be 10:30 p.m. So if you live in Wichita, Kansas, where the show is centered, Carol Ann Stuckey is putting something together. You'll see she's posted info and contact on the Extraordinary Year Facebook page. You'll find it under recent posts by others on the upper right side of the page. Anyway, if you live elsewhere and you're listening in, I strongly encourage you to search out groups who are coming together to do this, or even organize your own. But you don't have to be with a group. You can just sit down by yourself and add your energy at the full moon. Dudes, meditation works. It's been proven to work. It's been proven that the more people who join in an intention, the greater the effect. I mean, it is scientifically proven. And it's not just, each person, doubles it. Like, one person and then you have another person and it's double. It's actually an exponential change. In other words, 3 people's energy isn't just triple the energy. The energy is actually cubed. So you get 7 people, the original energy to the 7th power. It's a big deal. It's been proven that it can reduce terrorism and crime on a global scale. It's been proven. So what people are asking is, let's get together this weekend and see what we can do. So I encourage anybody listening to join in. Let's make this as big a deal as we can. Let's visualize the world we want. Remember, Jesus said, wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, for you Christians out there, you might wonder, was he talking about stuff like this? Any comments, guys? I know that's kind of trippy stuff.
No, I mean, I don't know. I follow exactly what you're saying. Like,
well, I guarantee you, I'm going to be participating, whether it's with a group or, you know, sitting at home. I'll be. Yeah. I'm going to be doing it.
You were talking about the exponential, like, power of realization, right? Like, right. I kind of want to give an analogy, if I may, like, to kind of put it in layman's terms, because I like to do that. But
bring it.
You know how you hear like the 7 degrees of separation that, you know, I don't know exactly how it goes, but you know someone, and then exponentially, by reason of, you know, association, you know someone else across the fucking planet because you know that one person.
Within 7 degrees of separation.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, well, the same thing applies to...
I'm actually 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon. I just want you to know that.
But, I mean, the same thing applies to, you know, a collective consciousness about anything. I mean, we're talking here about, you know, what do you call it, May 5th? What's it going to be?
World Liberation Day.
World Liberation Day. If one person tells, I believe it or not, I attended one of those seminars recently about it was kind of one of those pyramid schemes to where, you know, you tell one person about this money making opportunity, and right. They tell 2 people about this money, you know, and then those
and if you're motivated, we can make a lot of money.
Yeah, but the same thing applies to these concepts, and that's something we've become detached to as a society, is these ideas. Because, I mean, face it, what are the things that exponentially become big fucking news? You know, the size of Kim Kardashian's ass, or whether or not Jessica Simpson likes, you know, chicken tuna, or whatever the fucking case may be. Some bullshit thing that nobody really cares about. But when really it should be...
I care about Brad and Angelina finally getting married, dude.
God, who the fuck cares? I'm sorry. Who cares about what anybody is doing in, you know, the Hollywood or whatever? The real issues are what's going on, like, globally and locally. Like, you have to do something locally before it can ever reach a global scale. You know, these life-changing and globally changing concepts don't come, you know, just instantaneously. All right, it's a global concept. You know, it starts where, you know, you tell one person, and then they tell more people, and then all of a sudden you have this group of people locally that are talking about. But through social media, it can be very fast.
Well, yeah, viral. I mean, viral. That's just kind of that's an allusion to a virus spreading through a body, you know. So, you know, that's a pretty good analogy, I think. Or, you know, say it catches fire. You know, all of a sudden, once a fire really starts, you can't stop it. Everybody's going to know it, and it's going to spread throughout the collective.
The question is that fire worth letting burn out?
Well, that one is, yeah, that one is for sure. But I guess my point was I'm still thinking about the power of collective intention. And really that's kind of where my focus is on this is, you know, we have this opportunity with World Liberation Day. Somebody that I follow, Lisa Harrison, and I've mentioned her a couple of times on the show. She's somebody who interviewed Tolik, Alfred Lamont Weber, and, you know, people, ufologists will know these names. Bill Brockbrader, who we used to talk about back when we first started the show. She's done some pretty big interviews. And she did a blog post, I think it was yesterday. She calls it Come What May, with May capitalized, as in May the month. And it starts out talking about how many of us have been down the mouth, frustrated, blaming the cabal, etc. Sound familiar, guys? Sound like last week? Anyway, she reminds us that we're the ones we've been waiting for. And she reminds us of the power of our collective intention. And reminds us there are some powerful energies hitting the earth right now, celestial energies, cosmic energies. We're aligned with the Great Rift. There's just a lot of energy the Earth is in, the solar system is in a period of a part of space of the interstellar medium that's just being bombarded with particles that are going through you and me right now. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. And it's literally let me get this real quick. It's literally warming up the entire solar system. The Earth, the warming on Earth isn't just Earth. And that's what you're not going to hear in the mainstream media. It's all the planets. All the planets are changing. All the moons are changing in this solar system and have been. It's been noted for the last couple of years, but nobody's talking about it. So we've got all these energies coming in that we're not talking about. And right now, if we really work with the energies that are coming through us, that's science, you know. Just read the passage here. I'm going to read a passage real quick. I'm sorry, David, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to get through this.
No, you're good.
So here's part of what Lisa says. So how do we play our part? By listening to the silence, following your intuition, finding your voice and speaking your truth, having your actions based on love, compassion, and empathy, making a choice to be part of the solution and not the problem, making a choice, using your imagination and contribute to the collective imagination, visualize the world you want to live in, and then live as if, in other words, as if it were. That is how we bring on the golden age and create the new paradigm. There is a reason there is no post-2012 information. There's a reason black ops technology, remote viewers, and psychics can't see past 2012. We've not imagined it yet. What we see in front of us, what we call reality, is the past. It's the result of what we previously put into the collective imagination. Every time we focus on that and say that is how things are, we recreate the same image over and over again. For as long as we focus on the current paradigm, the longer it will linger as it goes through its death throes. Die it will, for this has been prophesied. But how quickly and how peacefully is up to us, for what it's worth. And I don't know, it just brings home the whole thing. We've got World Liberation Day coming up. We've got people who have been, it's not just me, who have been really frustrated, and it's just kind of a reminder that, you know what, chin up, guys. Let's do this. That's what I take away from it. What were you going to say, Canada?
Yeah, I'm glad you come here. I was just getting your, I don't know if anybody else was getting it. Your phone was messing up for a minute.
Oh, terrific. I was on a rant and nobody heard me.
No. I mean, you could hear you. It was just for like 30 seconds, cutting in and out.
Well, Skype tends to have issues.
Phone. I think it's
Skype.
I don't think it's the phone.
Yeah, I'm with Monica on this.
Connection.
It's Skype. I've noticed it with other people who use Skype on our show too. So.
Yeah, I'm hearing it from your phone, but I'm not experiencing it.
Okay.
This is what we're talking about. We need to have a session, if you will, of sitting around like the same computer. You know what I mean? I don't know. Technology I don't trust very well.
We can make that happen. We can make that happen. Okay, but I'm going to move on because there's a lot of news to talk about. And remember, if you're listening out there, all the stuff we're talking about, all the cool new stuff that I know of anyway, and that's been to my attention, is on our Facebook page. So moving on to the Sheldon Nidle timeline. You know, there's a lot of talk about timelines, and this isn't a timeline in the regards to what psychics have seen. This is a timeline for world events that will take us from where we are now to, to where we want to be, where we talk about going, disclosure and ascension. So, according to this new timeline released by Sheldon Nidle, mid-spring, which, I'm guessing is right about now, I would think, the plan is for mass public arrests, a new banking system proclaimed, new governments put into power, and I assume that's the temporary stuff that people have been talking about, and, drumroll, UFO disclosure. Yay! Finally. If Sheldon Nidle's timeline comes to pass in the near future, we'll have official UFO disclosure with a capital D. But, how often have we heard that? And then this summer, his timeline says the trial date's set for all the arrests for all the big bad guys taken out of power, who, and all their dastardly deeds being put in front of the public, so everybody can get, a clean slate on what the world really is. The release of secret technologies that have been, suppressed, that we've talked about, that it's basically completely free energy pulled from the ether around us. You don't need a battery if you can just pull energy from the air. New business and finance structure put in place this summer, and contact with extraterrestrials this summer. So that's what Sheldon Nidle says, and he's a pretty famous channeler. He is famous for getting specifics like this. Whether or not they come to bear, I cannot speak to, but he is known for it, and that I can actually say with confidence. Whether or not he's to be listened to, my jury's out. So I just wanted to pass that on because it's kind of big news in the Lightworker community. And if it comes to bear, that'd be pretty awesome if you ask me. I don't know which one of you guys is ready for this to actually just get done. Let's do something. Let's stop talking about it.
Wait, are we talking about free energy here?
No, we're talking about the Sheldon Nidle timeline and what he says is going to happen. He's saying this spring, arrests, new banking system, new government, and UFO disclosure. He's saying
first contact.
Say what?
Or not first contact, but contact. That's
well, that would be this
right?
summer, and then this summer the trial dates would be set, the technologies would be released, and we would have a whole new way of doing business on the planet, and we would have contact, official contact, people meeting people.
And then we'll have 4 months until Ascension.
Yeah, but I think we need to. I think we need to maybe adjust our ideas of what that is and what that means. It may be that the 21st of December 2012 is really just the beginning of a process.
Beginning of a process of Ascension?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I think there's so many different ideas that with it actually becoming reality, without us getting closer, without think about mass consciousness. Think about mass consciousness in the present. What percentage of people are on the wavelength of the stuff that we're talking about right now around the globe, do you think?
Not fucking many.
Maybe 5 to 15? And that's just my guess.
Well, hold on, Tim. Can I interject for a second? I think, when you talk about mass consciousness as just something that, if everybody had mass consciousness, then we could reach this understanding, this global understanding that, where our place is in the universe.
Right. We don't have that now, but what if we were given it?
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Can you think about alien? You talk about disclosure too, and contact with extraterrestrials. I mean, what extraterrestrials? If you think about it, how did they get so advanced? They had consciousness to where, and this is something that I'm on the fence about. Is there any privacy in a collective consciousness? Hold on, how do I put this?
Matt?
I'm like a complete fucking loon.
But you're looking at it from a third dimensional point of view. There's no privacy beyond this dimension. You're not going to be able to hide anything. Nobody will be able to hide anything, and nobody will judge anyone else for what they can't hide, because everybody will see. They're just like the other guy. They've got their faults, and they've got their struggles, and they've got their demons, and there's nothing that anybody can hide. It's instantly known. You cannot hide the truth beyond the third dimension.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's where we're going, dude.
Living in 3 dimensions, we have our own personal, like I said, free will and consciousness, to where our thoughts are our own and no one else's. But then you cross that boundary into the 4th dimension, and someone say ascend, and you ascend into that 100% collective consciousness, to where my thoughts are your thoughts, and
yeah, I don't think it's so much that my thoughts are your thoughts, though. The way I see it is my thoughts are detectable and perceivable but they're still my own, and I know they're my own. I don't have someone else thinking that I'm thinking it. I don't have somebody talking to me and me going, oh, I just thought that. I know that that's from a different source. You just know. It's not complete de-individuation,
right.
to move into unity consciousness. Unity consciousness just opens up what you have access to, but it doesn't make you less you.
And I think, I know, and I speak from I guess I'm advocating for all the other people out there who kind of feel the same way, I guess. But think about an ant colony. And for me, that's what I've always thought, being brought up in that kind of, the alien race is going to come down and wipe out all of Earth's resources, and they're going to colonize Earth and stuff. And think about the ants.
They could have done that any time.
We know it on Earth. This ant comes down and, or not comes down, I'm sorry. This ant, every ant in that colony drives towards a certain goal, and every ant knows its place. Every ant works based on this collective consciousness that, yes, we need to work towards the colony, but at the same time, we as humans consider them pests most of the time. We think of that as something that, crawls about and ruins our fucking day, ruins our picnic. But the ant drives towards that common goal of anything for the colony, and they don't care what they fuck up in the process.
The ants would have sinned before us.
Right. And David and I, vouch with me here. We watched the movie Avatar earlier, and I hate to bring that into it, but Avatar was the same way. You look at this, as humans, we've been spoon-fed this idea that aliens could come down and colonize Earth. But we were never given that idea in our heads that, we have already colonized our own fucking planet.
Or that we could connect with each other. You want to talk about collective consciousness, and you bring up Avatar. Well, that whole planet was one consciousness. Well, that's just Hollywood telling us what we have.
Right. Where Matt was going with it was the basic fact that we're fed this one idea of us getting conquered, but the government or whoever never shows us conquering another planet, saying us coming in on doing the whole Cowboys and Indians thing and kicking them out and stealing them for everything they got, just because of a resource.
Because of corporate profit.
The scary thing about Avatar is that could totally happen. If we were somewhat as technologically advanced as some of these other aliens out there.
Yeah, we would do that. We would do that.
Yeah,
and that's why we haven't been allowed off this freaking planet and out of this solar system.
That's a good fucking thing. God help us if we do something so stupid and ignorant.
Well,
I'm sorry.
The theory is that the dimension that we're going to is vibrating at such a rate that you're just not going to be able to vibrate at that level of existence, of consciousness, unless you have sufficiently high vibration. And if you're in the lower energies, which are things that deal with fear and domination and restriction and scarcity, if those are your energies, which that's a total, the energy of that sort of conquest is lower energy, you're not going to be able to ascend into the next level of existence. So you don't have to worry about us doing that beyond Ascension. Beyond Ascension, everybody who would do something like that is not going to be around.
How do you think, Sam, serious question here, how do you think people, take someone who died today, and they didn't, God forbid, they didn't live to see December 21st, 2012. If anything did happen, do you think that Ascension, as we see it, as, the Day of Reckoning, do you think that's something that they have experienced already, that third eye open to the fourth dimension that they suddenly see?
It's possible. My understanding is that everything is going to ascend together. And so I'm going to guess that, their soul chose to leave when it did, because I think there's ample evidence that shows that, we do write our lives and choose when to leave at a soul level, a level of ourselves that we're not connected with in waking life. But that is there. That's been studied by Freud and Jung, just from a clinical psychology. Honey, what am I trying to say?
I don't know, from a psychological standpoint.
Sure, that. So, I think that there's definitely proof that the soul chooses to leave when it does. And so if somebody were to die, it would be because they chose to on a soul level, and then they would also ascend with the earth and the rest of us, because, we pass to the astral level beyond the same level we go to when we dream is this level we go to when we sleep, or when we die, rather. And, if a soul is sufficiently, ready, it will move into the light beyond that. But, that's stage one, from my understanding. And I've been researching this stuff since I was 20. And I'm not 20 anymore. And that was step one, was figuring out what happens when we die. And so it is my firm belief that those people will be hanging around and will be reconnected with their higher selves and will choose to ascend with the earth. And if that's not what they choose on a soul level, then that's not what they choose. It's up to every last one of us.
I know we were talking about this briefly last week. We were talking about dreams and how dreams are kind of, again, like that glimpse, like your conscious glimpse into, a higher dimension and a higher consciousness. Like dreams, it didn't hit me last week, but I've been having some crazy dreams lately. And forgive me, I don't remember each and every one of them, but I do know that every morning when I wake up, and I've had a dream the night before where I was like, well, what the fuck, you know?
I've been doing the same thing.
It's one of those realizations. And forgive me, I can't recall it on a whim's notice, but some of these dreams, they just, the frequency with which they happen, and then the intensity of those dreams, just, I don't know, it kind of makes you think, what's going on not only my conscious level, but on the conscious level of every human being on this planet. Is that something I'm experiencing, strictly as my own consciousness, or is that something that everyone's experiencing?
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Well, on previous shows we've talked about the Gaia's Dreams website, where people can go in and input their dream information, and it tracks trends. And I don't know that there are enough people for it to be statistically valuable, but it could still be interesting. And so just Google Gaia's Dreams, and Gaia would be Gaia, Gaia's Dreams, and it's through the Institute of Noetic Sciences. Ions.com, the organization that Dan Brown mentioned in his latest book, The Lost Symbol, talking about noetic science. And one of the two things that Dan Brown focused on in his latest book was the Illuminati and noetic science, which is basically new physics. It's the physics of spirituality. And the head of that organization is former astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who had an extraterrestrial/spiritual epiphany while in space, and it changed him. And since he came back to Earth, he's been doing this sort of stuff. And his organization, I believe, is mentioned in the Dan Brown book. And one of the two main characters, the female person who joins Tom Hanks' character in this one, is she's big in noetic sciences. That's her specialty. And so kudos to Dan Brown for bringing that to the fore. But anyway, I'm off topic. Let me get myself here. All right. I'm getting back on.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to be off topic here or not, but we were just talking about dreams a minute ago and how interpretation of those dreams can often say a lot about your spirituality and how you take that in. And again, I don't know if I'm getting off topic here, but... No,
that's cool.
If you recall a guy in the Old Testament by the name of Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, there's actually a musical written about it, but it's actually a really good story in the Old Testament saying, Joseph was a dream interpreter, and he would tell you about these dreams, and he got to the point where he was Pharaoh's dream interpreter, and he would interpret Pharaoh's dreams and tell him, I see, 27 stalks of wheat or bales of wheat. This means we're going to have a prosperous year. We're going to have much to go around. But then, he told Pharaoh, well, next year we're going to have, years of drought, et cetera, et cetera. And these were the kinds of things that made it into, they were so spiritual in nature that they made it into the Old Testament of the Bible. And these were things that were handed down, thousands of years, to the point where, that's spiritually, that is one of the things that guides a majority of the people on this earth right now, is the fact that this, am I getting off topic again? I'm getting off topic.
No, you're just talking about dreams. That's cool.
I
think it's important. I think whether or not people are in touch with their dreams or not may actually have something to do with how in touch they are with their own spirituality. But then again, I don't know that. I think maybe, some really shallow people out there might be like, dude, I had this fucking dream last night. It's crazy. And they just don't get what what their higher self is trying to show them. And it's, having an understanding about what dreams are in them being a conversation with your own soul, at least that's my view. I know that that's not the only view, but my view is it's like a conversation with your soul, and that's the language of the soul. And I think that if you read Carl Jung's autobiography, I think that's kind of how he looked at it too. And so, I think that paying attention to what goes on in those dreams is one of the keys that we have that a lot of people don't use. And so if everybody approached it with that in mind, they might come away with something different than, boy, I had a crazy fucking dream. But anyway, I got to get back on the rundown here. I want to talk about some things I told people we talk about. So real quick, Anonymous launches a little poke at NASA on the YouTube, and that's posted on our Facebook page. You go check that out. It's kind of out of the norm for Anonymous to do something like this. They usually focus on governments, policymakers, corporations, and they're more of a WikiLeaks type of thing and an Occupy type thing. And now they're coming out, calling NASA on their fake imagery and hiding truth. And they basically tell NASA, we're going to release information. We've got this. We've got specifics. And now we're serious. We're going to announce to the world that extra-dimensional entities are not malevolent and there's no threat. Or actually, there's really no threat from Anonymous to NASA. They're just saying, look, we're going to tell everybody. They're not saying, you better do this or that. It's not a warning. It's just basically they're coming out and calling them out on their stuff and saying, we're going to tell the world what's up. What's up? Okay, area code 904, you're on the air. You want to talk about this NASA business?
About the what?
About the NASA, anonymous NASA message, or what do you want to talk about?
Oh, no, I was reading your title, and it said Occupy the Hope. Then I read the description. You was talking about I think you was talking about the Occupy movement, right?
Yeah, we actually started out talking about Occupy at the top of the show. We've kind of moved on into other things that I think Occupy is part of on a global scale of just things changing and things coming our way. Did you do any Occupy stuff yesterday?
Oh, I don't even believe in that movement. I was just trying to say how I honestly believe that I honestly believe a movement like that is silly, and that's what I think I wrote in your chat.
Okay. Well, I guess that's you're welcome to that view. I think that the view on the whole on a planetary scale is changing to be different than that view.
Yeah, I think what I do like is that on the planetary scale, as you were just talking about, is that in each individualistic society, people are becoming much more politically aware. And I think that's how you have tyrants, monopoly men, and things of that nature, is when people aren't aware of these type of things, these type of systems, and how they function. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I guess I'm curious about your understanding of the Occupy movement, because I'm not sure what you would find silly in people getting together to say, you know what, this world is being controlled by a very few people, and they're basically living on all of us. Let's fucking do something about it. And I don't think that's silly. I empathize with that basically. So I'd kind of like to understand what you think is silly about the Occupy movement.
Well, my thing is, okay, you go to places like Washington, and you go to places like what's the other place in New York City called? Wall Street. And you protest these major banks, which we all know buy off politicians. They infiltrate their own ex-CEOs into these positions, i.e., not Eric Holder, sorry, but Timothy Geithner under Obama and Hank Paulson under President Bush, under ex-President Bush.
Yeah.
That's called crony. That's, first of all, that's not even capitalism. It's called crony capital, where CEOs actually infiltrate these positions where they can actually control fractions of the society. And what I find silly about Occupy is that if you're gonna fight up against the system, go up against places such as the CIA headquarters in Virginia, against each Federal Reserve Bank, against certain unions, World Trade Union. I mean, you have to go up against those type of things. I just don't see you protesting in the streets and then you demanding some type of social change when in all actuality it's not going to happen. Not at all. And I just think that for them to be trying to say capitalism is the problem, I think those people are terribly, 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 terribly misinformed on economic structures.
Well,
and how they actually work.
I understand how you think that was silly. I know a lot of people, are of the view that capitalism is the best system that we've ever come up with as a society. And I guess what people don't realize is, I agree with you. The crony capitalism is the problem. And I think that you almost sound like an occupier. It almost sounds to me as if you're saying the Occupy movement has the right idea on trying to do something about crony capitalism, but they're attacking the wrong targets. Is that what you're saying?
In so many words, I would have to say, yeah.
Now,
and for right now, if I had to choose between the Tea Party and the Occupy, I would definitely go with the Tea Party more. Because
I think that Occupy's movement is including anything the Tea Party movement has to say, really. I think there's a lot of common ground, and that's what people don't understand, is people think it's one or the other. There's a lot of common ground. Look, the Occupy movement, any movement that's going to be big enough to get anything done, is going to be full of people who don't agree. There's going to be disagreements, but what we can unify about are the things that we actually do agree on, and they are not few. And I also believe that this planet is waking up to the idea that just because it's the best it's ever been doesn't mean that it's the best system we can come up with. And that we're tied over a world that works for the few. And we think that there's, we've been told, spoon-fed from birth, that there's scarcity. There's not enough of this to go around. There's not enough of that to go around. We got to have oil. Dude, we don't have to have oil. We haven't needed oil in 100 fucking years. There's free energies that's been suppressed by our government, who is controlled by the oil companies. The largest corporation on the planet is ExxonMobil. Last year, they made $3 million an hour.
You mean energy?
You
mean energy company in terms of the energy company? In terms of energy company?
ExxonMobil made $3 million in profit. That's not their revenue. That's their profit in 1 hour, every hour in 2010. Fiscal year 2010, $3 million an hour. They control this whole rubble pile, brother. They control every government. It's all a pyramid scheme. It's a global pyramid scheme, and that's what they've wanted, and that's the way they built it, and they put it right in front of your face. And that's what the Occupy movement is about, is tearing down the pyramid and everybody living on the same level. And capitalism is built on a system of lack. It's built on scarcity. When we think there can be an abundance economy, not one that negates freedom, not one that requires everybody to pay massive taxes, just one that's free and fair and open. If we could get off oil and not need to pay for energy. How much money do you pay in energy? There's plenty of resources on this planet to go around for everyone.
But this goes back to my essential point of when you have when you do, let's say a new system is developed besides socialism and capitalism, and the system is more free and fair for
socialism and capitalism are not mutually exclusive. You can have a capitalistic socialist society. You can have.
Well, we have one now. I would say we kind of have one now.
There's no government. There's no form of government that doesn't have aspects of socialism. There's none. It's impossible. Yeah. So it's just it's not a question of where's the line? Where is it? Oh, you're just a capitalist society, and where's the line where all of a sudden no, you're socialist? Yeah. There's no line. It's a great gray gradient from white to black and everything in between.
Because socialism, it works in a communal sense, but I wouldn't say it works on a grand. I wouldn't say it would work on a nationalistic scale. Because that you advocate more oppression. If you ask me, it is more oppression. Under capitalism, you have much more liberties to do anything that you please, almost. So this is why I'm for capitalism all the way.
You're talking to somebody who's not high on the whole idea of nations, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm more of a person who needs to. I think that we need to recognize that we're a planet, and that there are other planets out there with life on them, and we want to become in that group. But we're not going to ever get included in the galactic playground until we stop trying to compete with each other. And capitalism is built on competition. If we want to get what the other guy has because we don't think there's enough to go around, which is basically what our society is built upon, we are never going to get to the evolution on a civilization standpoint to be a global, a planetary civilization, because we're too busy fighting each other for what we think there's not enough of. And it's bullshit. We don't have to do it. There's enough.
True. That's very true.
I think dude, we've only got a minute and a half to go here, so I just want to I want to thank you for your call.
No problem.
I'm glad that you called in, but I got to just kind of run through a few things before we sign off here. Thanks for your call, brother.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so real quickly, guys, latest global financial resignations, nothing, no news. That's weird. Lots of UFO sightings, great stuff, recent stuff. Last night in Russia, they popped back up. Go check that out. Check out everything on our Facebook page, especially the Alara Blackwell remote viewer video of the week, because that will blow your mind. So anyway, we're going to sign off here in just a little bit. I want to thank David and Matt for coming on. This has been a great night, great conversation, guys. I hope it's been valuable to everybody listening in. You can reach us at facebook.com/extraordinaryyear1word. Follow me on Twitter at Tim Bravo. Follow Canada at Tainted Drums. Like us, spread the word, share the crazy stuff we talk about, because the more people who know this, the closer we get to it all coming around. So keep the hope, and remember, it's all about love.